Watch the narcissist in action. The circular conversation. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. The narcissist uses manipulations, both benign and malign, to pursue the prime aims. Most narcissists are unaware, meaning that they don't realize that they're actually being manipulative. The narcissism causes them to believe that what they're doing is correct for one or more reasons. They don't see that what they're doing is manipulative. The narcissism causes them to believe that they are the victim, that they are the one that is being unjustly attacked, unfairly criticized, unnecessarily put upon. I'm going to utilize some further real-life footage to provide you with an example of a circular conversation. Circular conversations are common with narcissists because of two factors. The first is that invariably the victim won't lie down. They keep arguing their position, driven from a point of their perspective upon whatever matter it is that's being discussed. The fact that they won't lie down and shut up means that they keep offending the narcissist's need for control. You might think, well, okay, if that person keeps criticizing the narcissist, keeps arguing with that individual, keeps putting the individual under pressure, is done for the purposes of assertion of control. However, you may well think, if this individual keeps going back at the narcissist, ultimately, isn't the narcissist going to move to a different assertion of control? They're trying to assert control directly, but it's not working. Therefore, wouldn't it be the case that they'd move to an indirect assertion of control, or if that isn't possible, they will simply withdraw? In some instances that will happen, but often it doesn't, because the victim who continues to argue with the narcissist is also fueling the narcissist. Thus what happens is this. Narcissist says something which provokes the victim. The victim won't accept that and argues their position. That threatens the narcissist's need for control, but also provides the narcissist with fuel, in effect, to keep the argument going. Thus, the narcissist denies or repeats something that's been said before. This provokes the victim. They can't understand why the narcissist is being so obtuse, why the narcissist is persisting in maintaining a ridiculous stance. Remember, the victim will invariably be affected by emotional thinking, which will be corrupting the truth-seeker trait. This truth-seeker trait causes them to keep trying to cause the narcissist to see their truth, their perspective, their version of events. What they don't realize is that they're dealing with a narcissist, and they expect the other person to be able to see the world in the way that they do. It beggars belief that this person doesn't get it. It's not driven by a high-handed attitude to say, look, you've got to see my point of view, but rather it's invariably driven by confusion. I don't understand why they can't see it. I can't understand why they're not able to see what I'm talking about. I don't get why they are continuing to maintain this stance, which doesn't add up. It doesn't add up in your world, but it adds up in the world of the narcissist. But the victim does not know that at the point in time that this is occurring. Thus, the victim keeps on pushing to get the narcissist to see the truth of what they are saying. The pushing provides fuel to the narcissist, which he or she will continue to drink up all day long, but continues to threaten the need for control. So the narcissist responds by trying to nullify that threat to control, by denial, by saying something else. The victim, rather than go, it's quite clear that this is just a pointless circular conversation, I'm wasting my breath, I'll walk away, continues to argue the toss And thus it goes on and on. And their attempts to get to the truth of the matter and to get the unknown narcissist to understand that truth merely keeps the argument going. Time and time again, the victim makes the fundamental mistake of continuing to fuel the narcissist and continuing to argue with the narcissist. In such circumstances, the simplest thing to do is state your position because you know that you've done it, and then to walk away, recognizing this individual is not capable of understanding my point of view. Naturally, it takes a long time for certain people to get to that point, and even when they might have an awareness that they're dealing with a narcissist, the strength of their emotional thinking keeps them arguing, corrupting their truth-seeker trait and their narcissistic trait of argumentativeness, so they remain invested, they remain locked into the argument. This becomes hugely frustrating for the victim, and we rely upon this. They continue to provide the fuel, they get worked up, they become annoyed, and they may even get to a point of doing something which then portrays them in a bad light, which the narcissist will use against them. It may well be the case that the victim gets to such an exasperated point that they turn around and lash out at the narcissist, and of course, the narcissist will use that as evidence of the nastiness of the victim and seek to use it against them, possibly by the involvement of the authorities. The circular conversation is utilized many times by narcissists in order to nullify the threat to control, with the expectancy that ultimately the victim will simply go, you know, you're right, I've had enough of this, yeah, you're right, I'm wrong, thus giving the narcissist the control that they seek. Sometimes it gets to that point, but it's often a long time in coming, and it's done once the victim has been worn down by this circular conversation. But it is a common manipulation. It's done to get control over that victim, who is obviously fighting against providing that control, and it results in the narcissist receiving fuel as the conversation just takes on almost a life of its own, going round and round and round. What you're now going to see is an example of such a circular conversation where it takes place between two individuals who are neighbours. There's a female narcissist who lives with their child in an apartment block for low-income families. The footage commences partway through an argument that the narcissist is having with a neighbour who lives in the apartment which is directly below hers. The narcissist's need for control has been threatened by an apparent noise coming from the neighbour's apartment. She blames the neighbour, who is a male non-intimate secondary source victim of this particular narcissist, for allowing his two young children to run around in the apartment. The narcissist believes that the neighbour and his young children are intentionally stomping to, in essence, wind up the narcissist. The narcissist states that this is causing migraines for her daughter and anxiety, and therefore she encouraged her daughter to knock on people's doors to complain about the noise, assertion of control by proxy. The narcissist bangs on the ceiling every time she hears noise from the apartment above, which also clearly antagonizes the victim when she does that, which again is a form of Hoover. Let's now watch the footage, and then I'll break down what's going on for you. Keep in mind also the signs of what type of narcissist this individual may well be. Here comes the footage.
Is causing migraines!
Yeah, and your child is right here, and you're setting a horrible example. What's wrong with you?
Where is she?
What's wrong? What's wrong with you?
Where is she? Where is she?
Right here.
Right there. Ha ha! Ha ha! Okay, so grow up, go home, stop banging on people's doors, stop banging on people's ceilings. I have children. You're an adult, and you're stomping on purpose. No one is doing anything on purpose to you. No one's doing anything on purpose to you.
That's how stupid you are.
Oh, am I?
Because I have...
Hello, new neighbor.
Hi!
Hi, you're so friendly.
Hi!
You don't live in a house, you live in an apartment.
Oh, but
you don't
I
have
didn't
rights.
kidnap my wife!
Oh, did I?
To Texas!
Oh, did I?
Well, that's what the neighbors told me.
Well, then why is she here?
Because she's fucking decrepit.
Oh, really?
And like, super insecure.
Okay.
That she thinks
So what does it mean about you then if you're having your child knock on people's doors
Dude!
so you can throw a little tantrum like a child?
Dude, you are
How old are
so
you?
worthless.
How old are you? Then why are you knocking on my door if I'm so worthless? What are you wasting your time for? What are you wasting your time for? Yeah, that's what I thought.
What? Wasting my
that's what I
time?
thought, yeah.
Because you're stomping nonstop.
No, I'm
Because
not.
you're such a loser
I'm
that
not
you can't
stomping.
take your fucking kids to the park.
Why don't you go back to Seattle?
You can't take
Why don't
your
you go back to
kids
Seattle?
to the park.
Hey, guess what? There are people that live in these units here.
Yeah, and so they live. And guess what?
What?
They hear you across down here and across here.
Do they?
And I have witnesses.
Oh yeah, witnesses.
And below me, that they still hear you stomping.
You have witnesses of what? There's your child that
No.
you're setting a great example for. Doesn't matter. She's already right here.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm having panic attacks because of you.
Oh, you're having a panic attack because of me.
Yeah.
So your mom has you come knock on my door so she can throw her little baby tantrum.
I wanted to.
Oh, you wanted to. Because you're having a panic attack because of
Stand up for
what?
yourself.
Because what? My child, they make a little bit of noise and you can't handle
A little bit.
Why are you in an
At
apartment?
10 o'clock.
Why are you in an apartment?
10 o'clock,
Do you know what your mom's
they
doing
make
at 10
a
o'clock?
noise.
Do you know what your mom's doing at 10 o'clock?
Talk shit about my kid.
Do you know what you're doing at 10 o'clock?
One night.
One night. You're being deliberate. You're an adult. You're not a child, and it's
You
not an accident.
are being deliberate because you're
No,
too
we're not.
lazy. You're a piece of
Guess
shit.
what?
You're too
Guess
lazy
what?
to take your kid outside.
Guess what?
You're too lazy
Guess
to take
what?
your kids outside.
Guess
You're
what?
lazy.
Guess what?
You're lazy to take your kid outside
Hey, guess
to get
what?
some energy
Hey,
out.
get
'cause
yourself
you're
together.
lazy shit.
Hey, get yourself together, and guess what?
You're a lazy piece
Guess
of
what?
shit.
It's not
You're
gonna
a lazy
change.
piece of shit.
Hey, you know what's
You're a
hilarious?
lazy piece of shit.
It's not gonna change.
Hey, guess what?
Bye. It's
I
not
know
gonna
it won't-
change.
I won't change.
No, this
but
is not
you
going to
will.
change. No,
You
it's not.
will.
It's not going to
You
change.
will. Is
Nope.
she on the lease?
Because there's still two
Is she on the
children.
lease? Is she on the lease?
There's still
Is she
two
on the
children.
lease? Is she on the lease?
There are still two children, and they're not going to turn
Is she
into
on
an
the
adult
lease?
over time.
Is she on the lease?
All you're doing is making it worse for yourself.
How?
Because it's not going to change. My children are still children. They're still going to make noise from time
No,
to time.
but they were only here twice a week. That's
How do
what
you
she
know?
said.
That's what she said. You don't know that. Don't
Oh,
don't-
bitch,
don't-
I know.
Don't kick
I
my
know
stuff.
all sorts of shit.
Oh, yeah? Well, you don't know what you're talking about. And why are you kicking my stuff? Put that back.
Because it hit my foot.
It didn't hit your foot. You're kicking my stuff. Put it
Oh,
back.
you're a liar.
Mama, come on, let's go.
No wonder why your child has anxiety. She has to live with you.
Jesus. All
Yeah.
this tattoos don't even work.
Oh, wow, I got tattoos. Look at the way you're acting. Who cares about what people look like? Look at the way you act. Look at the way you act in front of your child. Not just the way you act, but you do that in front of your kid.
Bitch.
You yell for hours
Hey,
in front of
guess
your
what?
kid.
Guess what, you
Guess what?
asshole?
It's not going to change.
It's not even you.
Oh, it's not even me. Yeah, it's yourself. Your problem is yourself. Yeah, keep peeking in my apartment. Your problem is yourself.
I'm not
Because
peeking in your apartment.
these kids are not going to grow up overnight. They're still
No,
gonna be
you
making
need to
noise.
take him
So guess what?
outside,
Have
you
fun.
fucking piece of
Have fun.
shit.
You need to move.
Take him outside.
How about you should have never came here?
Bring it.
Okay.
Let's see if I get kicked out
You
first.
need to live in a house.
Because you
You need to live in a house.
and I have money to do that.
Well, then do it.
you?
Then why don't you do it?
Then do you?
Then why are you living here? This is a low income
Do you
building.
have-
This is a low income building.
Right.
Right. Right.
So.
Thus, we picked up the argument that's taking place between these two individuals partway through. The narcissist states aggressively, "It is causing migraines." The victim points out, "Yeah, and your child is right here, and you're setting a horrible example." Challenge fuel. A narcissist then looks around to try and find the child. Where is she? Where is she? The neighbour asks, "What's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong with you?" Again, challenge fuel. The narcissist continues, Where is she? The child then makes a mockery, in a sense, not deliberately, of the narcissist by saying, "Right here." The victim picks up on that, "right here," and then laughs, which of course will infuriate a narcissist. Although again, it's fuel, it's challenge fuel. And the ridicule of the narcissist is not something that goes down well. Okay, so grow up. Go home. Stop banging on people's doors. The narcissist responds, "I will fucking rubbish you." Threat. Victim responds, "Stop banging on people's ceilings. I have children. You're an adult and you're banging on purpose. No one is doing anything on purpose to you." No. Flat denial. No one is doing anything on purpose to you. That's how stupid you are. Insult. Oh, am I? Says the victim sarcastically. Hello, new neighbour. The narcissist mirrors sarcastically. Hi. Hi, you're so friendly. Hi. Notice that the dispute about the noise is not getting resolved. Already, it's going nowhere. You don't live in a house, you live in an apartment, you don't have rights, states the victim. The narcissist then shifts matters with an accusatory, I didn't kidnap my wife, suggesting, of course, that the victim has done so. The victim replies, oh, did I? She adds to Texas, oh, did I? Well, that's what the neighbours told me. Triangulation. Well then, why is she here? Responds the victim. That, of course, threatens control once again by demonstrating that she can't have been kidnapped, taken to Texas because she's here. All that the narcissist can come up with by way of response is because she's fucking decrepit. Insult. Smearing. Oh, really? And like super insecure. Insult. The two then begin to talk over one another at this juncture. So what does it say about you then if you're having your child knock on people's doors? Accusatory from the victim, threatening control. Dude, replies the narcissist, so you can throw a little tantrum like a child. Accusatory, challenge fuel. Dude, replies the narcissist. How old are you? Asks the victim. Notice that the victim continues to fuel her. There's no resolution of the dispute. The conversation's going nowhere. She insults him again. Dude, you are so worthless. Then why are you knocking on my door if I am so worthless? Notice that the narcissist is deflecting again from the issue by labelling him worthless. He then asks the question, although it's futile, as to why are you knocking on my door then if I'm so worthless? What are you wasting your time for? A reasonable observation, but he fails to understand that because he's talking to a narcissist, it's not going to get him anywhere. The narcissist then beckons to him and winks and starts nodding. She's not able to come back with anything. The cognitive function of this narcissist is not particularly high. The victim pursues this line of inquiry. What are you wasting your time for? Yeah, that's what I thought. What are you wasting your time for? The narcissist responds, what? Wasting my time because you're stomping non-stop. Accusation. The victim denies this. No, I'm not. She then ups the ante by stating because you're such a loser that you can't take your fucking kids to the park. Triangulation. I'm not stomping. Why don't you go back to Seattle? You can't take your kids to the park, she states again, not listening to him. Why don't you go back to Seattle, he repeats, because guess what? There are people that live in these units here. Yeah, and guess what? What? The narcissist states they hear you across down here and across here. Do they? Asks the victim. And I have witnesses, shouts the narcissist. Oh yeah? Challenges the victim. Witnesses too? The narcissist responds, they're below me and they still hear you stomping. At this juncture, the narcissist's child has appeared in the hallway. You are witnesses of what? Asks the victim. That's your child that you're setting a great example for. The narcissist then turns to the child and takes a few steps towards her. Oh, Jesus, says the narcissist. The child then states to the victim, I'm having panic attacks because of you. Oh, says the victim, you're having a panic attack because of me? Yeah, adds the narcissist. So your mum has you come knock on my door so she can throw her little baby tantrum. I wanted to, explains the child. Oh, you wanted to? Because you're having a panic attack because of what? Asks the victim. The narcissist addresses her daughter and says, tell him yourself. The victim again questions, because what? My child, they make a little bit of noise and you can't handle it. The child yells, at 10 o'clock. The victim then asks, why are you in an apartment? The child says sarcastically, at 10 o'clock they make a little bit of noise. The victim asks, why are you in an apartment? Do you know what your mum's doing at 10 o'clock? At this juncture, because the victim is questioning the child, even though he was invited to do so, the narcissist, viewing the child as an extension of self, similarly feels challenged by these questions and therefore steps forward with her hand raised and pointing, talk shit about my kid, threat. The victim then addresses the narcissist. Do you know what you're doing at 10 o'clock? One night? Asks the narcissist. One night. You're being deliberate. You're an adult. You're not a child. And the narcissist says, you are being deliberate because you're too lazy. No, we're not, replies the victim. You're a piece of shit because you're too lazy, says the narcissist, insulting again. The victim doesn't back down. No, I'm not. Again, we're back to the allegation of you're too lazy to take your kid outside. Guess what, says the victim. Again, the narcissist says, you're too lazy to take your kids outside. You're lazy. Lazy to take your kid outside to get some energy out. The victim, guess what? The narcissist, you're a lazy shit. Notice, again, there's no resolution to this. The victim is just stating, guess what? And she accuses him of being lazy. Again, she states, you're a lazy shit. He replies, guess what? He responds, guess what? Get yourself together and guess what? It's not going to change. Again, she states, you're a lazy piece of shit. You're a lazy piece of shit. You're a lazy piece of shit. It's like an argument in the playground. The victim says, you know what's hilarious? It's not going to change. Bye. It's not going to change. The narcissist then issues a threat. I won't change, but you will. You will. He replies, no, this is not going to change. Nope, because there's still 2 children. Nope, because there's still 2 children. The narcissist replies, is she on a leash? Is she on a leash? Is she on a leash? He replies, there are still 2 children and they're not going to turn into an adult overnight. Again, the repetition of talking over him. Is she on a leash? Is she on a leash? The victim responds, all you're doing is making it worse for yourself. At this juncture, the narcissist's child is now trying to pull her mother away and back down the corridor. How? Asks the narcissist. The victim points out, because it's not going to change. My children are still children. They're still going to make noise from time to time. The narcissist moves away from her child and moves back towards the victim. No, because they were only here twice a week. The victim asks, how do you know? The narcissist responds, that's what she said. The victim says, that's what she said, you don't know that. The narcissist kicks the victim's doormat away to one side, triangulation with object. Oh bitch, I know all sorts of shit. And then gives the narcissist smirk. Oh yeah, well you don't know what you're talking about, and why are you kicking my stuff? Put that back. Narcissist, because it hit my foot. Lie, instant revision of history. The victim states, it didn't hit your foot, you're kicking my stuff, put it back. Projection. Oh, you're a liar. At this point, the child, clearly having had enough, states, Mama, come on, let's go. The narcissist whispers to the victim, you want to do one. The victim refers to the child, no wonder she has anxiety, she has to live with you. The narcissist then changed tacks again. Jesus, tattoos don't even work. Oh, I got tattoos. Look at the way you're acting, responds the victim. Who cares what people look like? Look at the way you act. Look at the way you act in front of your child. Not just the way you act, but you do that in front of your kid. You yell for hours in front of your kid. Again, yet more challenge fuel with these accusations of poor behaviour. The narcissist responds, bitch, hey, guess what? Guess what, you asshole? The victim responds again, circular nature, guess what? It's not going to change. The narcissist replies, it's not even you. The victim responds, oh, it's not even me. Yeah, it's yourself. Your problem is yourself. The narcissist keeps trying to look past the victim into his apartment. He notices this and says, yeah, keep peeking into my apartment. Your problem is you. Narcissist, denial. I'm not peeking in your apartment. The victim says, these kids are not going to grow up overnight. They're still going to make noise. The narcissist responds, no, you need to take them outside, you fucking piece of shit. Sense of entitlement, ordering him around, insult. The victim again. So guess what? Guess what? You need to move. The narcissist responds, take them outside. The victim replies, how about you should have never come here? The narcissist, showing ignited fury, bring it, let's see if I get kicked out first. The victim states, you need to live in a house. The narcissist replies, because you, he again repeats, you need to live in a house. And I have money to do that, do you? Then why don't you do it, replies the victim. Then why are you living here? Do you? Do you have? The victim replies, this is a low-income building. Ah, right, says the narcissist sarcastically. And the victim responds in kind. No resolution whatsoever to the argument, because the victim, The non-intimate secondary source sticks to his guns and keeps pointing out that nothing's going to change because his children aren't going to grow up overnight. The narcissist continues to be belligerent, repeatedly arguing because she's not getting the compliance that her subconscious narcissism requires. And thus, round and round they go, repeating the same things. Him giving her fuel, her arguing back, her putting him down, but him not backing down, thus she doesn't get the control that she wants. An example of a not particularly sophisticated exchange, but nevertheless demonstrating the manipulation of a circular conversation. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for watching.